obviously the orange line third is primarily about all the work we're doing, but we also have a lot of opportunity projects that we're doing. While the lines sit down, we're giving the opportunity to do all the work that we can. This is an example of one of the opportunity projects. We are replacing stair treads here at State Street. So this is the materials that the crew has staged on site. As we walk down the stairs, you'll see partially completed work here, and that'll be our State Street station, which is a very hard station for us to access during non-revenue hours. We only have 2 subpads that we can access from. Community College, which is to the north, and Dean Roar, which is to the south.
So that's it's inside here, starting here and going there.
You actually saw it done.
We'll show you where the start of the work is. Yep.
This rail is not the stage.
So how long had it been here?
This rail was probably original. Going back to the 70s.
No kidding.
Depending on the geometry, we get anywhere from 10 to 40 years.
Cable in my office.
Here's the project that we're looking at right here, State and Downtown Crossing. That is the first of our 6 slow zones and speed restrictions that we're trying to remove. We are overall 37% complete here, and you can see down here the individual completion numbers. But really trying to make sure we focus on the priority projects, which is the track work, and then build in opportunity projects where we can.
So talk about this. Like, what are you actually doing? Signal?
Yeah, so we are doing a signal upgrade between Malden and Oak Grove, and that's going to change over the technology for our signal system. So that section is power on currently. We do some testing.
Right. When you change, so help me understand the relationship between the new trains and the signal upgrades. Because there is
That
one.
question, Eric?
Sure.
Great.
So the new trains are designed to talk with the old signal system and the new signal system. So it has less to do with the new trains and the signal system, and more about how our signal system can be more easily diagnosed and more rapidly repaired, as well as dealing with the obsolescence of the componentry that may not be in the signal system. The old signal
I'm
system.
well aware of the component. Yes. Componentry, interesting word.
So it's similar to what we are doing also on the red line. This is the same signal system that we're operating on.
So you are at 21% complete now. Where do you want to be by the end of the 30 days?
So I know this is for the signal, for the Oak Grove wall. It should be close to 100% for the signal system.
Okay. That's great.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so that after that testing phase,
Yes. So the surge gives us the opportunity to treat the testing and the cutover of the new signal system differently than what we're doing on the red line. Where on the red line, there's been a lot of night work that's happened every single night, and then on weekends we've had weekend diversions. We have a test weekend and then a total weekend, taking advantage of the surge has given us an opportunity.
Great.
All right, so this just demonstrates the quantities that we did. 900 linear feet of the running rail, a little over 200 feet of the restrained or guarded rail. And this will allow us to eliminate a speed restriction, and one of the 6 that we're trying to eliminate during this. So by the end of this project, all of the speed restrictions currently on the orange line due to track conditions should be eliminated.
How old is the oldest restrictions?
Probably this one,
Okay.
about a year older.
So is that wrong? Should that be June 21?
I don't think this is the oldest one.
Well, the oldest one, the orange one. The oldest one is on the red line. It's been on a couple of years.
Is that one June 22, which was like a month ago?
When did this transition?
Where are the other ones?
We had one at Jackson crossover, which we are currently working on. Ruggles crossover. Data crossover. Correct. And Forest Hills crossover, we had that put up by the forces. Contract is replacing ties and rail north of Community College will eliminate
Okay.
restriction, as well as over the data bridge
Okay.
going into Wellington.
And then I assume Tufts.
Of course,
And the big
Tufts,
one.
the biggest one,
Tufts
Tufts and Back
the
Bay.
biggest one. That's where all the colonial.
And by the end of that, the contractor is doing the cologne eggs and the concrete repairs. Maintenance away force is looking to do the rail replacement. Rail's already fabricated, it's made up, ready to go in once the contractor finishes their work.
Okay. Okay.
I think that's it. Do you want to go across?
Okay, so if I don't pronounce it, can you explain the tracks that are down here and their purpose and their point? Is that where it started?
Yes, that's where it's going. This is the older rail that's installed for 4 years. So we started from here to down across the whole. That's two pieces of welded rail that we made out several months ago. They're about 129 feet long, jointed together all the way towards town.
Is that where you're replacing?
That's where we started. We met into the rail that's only a couple years old, so there's really no mismatch. You know,
So is the stuff that's going to replace going forward around the corner?
this is all new.
I know this is new, but does this take you up to 900 feet?
Yes, I can look at all the way around the curve.
And what's going on here?
Signature rails. And what happens is it keeps prevents wear on the highway. And sometimes when the train goes around the sharp curve, you get that squealing. That's the noise you hear is rubbing against that straight rail. So we lubricate it with automatic lubricators. We apply a small amount of grease.
We do downtown crossing in 2019.
I believe so, 18 and 19.
We definitely fall 2019.
No, I remember doing downtown crossing. I think we
Yeah.
actually put the meeting down there.
Yeah, we did.
All right, you guys win. Have to go pretty far down in either direction on the orange line to find an entrance that you can then enter onto the system with and then get here. So being able to do this work 24/7 on the site with full access from either end to get in and lay the track down here to deal with the speed restriction and the issues associated with that is a really good example of why there's so much more work that can get done in a short period of time here. Because you don't have to spend hours getting onto the tracks and off of the tracks and having really limited time to actually do work. Here they can basically own the tracks 24/7. They can work on them on 2 shifts and basically dramatically speed up how long this work would normally take, which is what the point of this was in the first place.
So you're satisfied with what you're seeing so far?
Yeah, I mean, I think the real challenge in all this is just the geometry associated with doing track work as well as signal work, as well as the cologne egg work, which I'm going to let you explain, Steve, and some of the other pieces that are associated with this, because it's just a lot of people and a lot of gear in and out on different projects, literally close to 24 hours a day. I do think the amount of work that will get done, though, will in fact dramatically reduce some of the issues that we have on the orange line generally, and there will be by the time these folks come back, predominantly new orange line cars on the tracks as well, which would mean better tracks, new cars, a ton of signal work that got done that would have taken a long time otherwise. It should dramatically improve the provide for riders.
The orange line isn't the only line with a speed restriction. Should we expect to see these kind of shutdowns used anywhere else?
Well, remember, part of the reason for doing this was we're dealing with 5 or 6 speed restrictions here, some of which is really hard to get to. Some of the other ones are a lot easier to get to. And I don't think anybody's got as many as these guys do they?
No, I don't think they do. In terms of answering your question, we're going to take a look at where a diversion might be appropriate in other places, and we'll obviously work with our municipal partners and clearly communicate. We have been doing diversions over the years, never one of the breadth of this one. I think we'll take a look at what strategy makes the most sense, and obviously communicate. I think that's the key lesson we take away from this diversion, is just letting our riders know and letting the municipalities that we serve know what's coming. So we will be looking at other strategies to remove speed restrictions on other lines, but obviously more to come on that.
You gotta remember, they've done diversions on the E line, the D line, and the B line pretty much every summer for the last few years. They did a pretty extensive diversion from Sullivan Square out to Oak Grove a couple of summers ago. That one lasted several weeks, and then we did a pretty big one from Braintree into JFK as well. So I mean, these are not that unusual. This one's obviously much bigger than most of the others, but there's a ton of track work that's been done over the past few years. The big opportunity here is to get to some of the spaces that are really hard to get to if you're only working nights and weekends.
How confident are you that this will be wrapped up by the 19th of September?
I'm actually pretty confident about that, and I base that confidence on the fact that a lot of the work that's being done here can be done over the course of a 24-hour period. You don't have to spend a huge amount of the time you're actually on the tracks getting on them and getting off them, which is typically the case for night and weekend work. The other piece of it is this is work that was planned and scoped as part of the T's 5-year capital plan, so it's not unfamiliar to people. And I think both these guys would say that the people who are working on it, the contractors who do the work, have done a lot of the other work they've done on these tracks as well.
Last question. A lot of commuters change their schedules. We're now heading into the weeks where students are returning back to school. What would be your message to commuters, and especially our younger commuters and students, when it comes to navigating this?
Well, the first thing I would say to everybody is we appreciate the difficulty that this creates for everyone. But the chance to get 5 years worth of work done in a very short period of time was a significant opportunity to improve the quality of service for Orange Line riders generally. And there's always friction between running the service and fixing the tracks, or doing almost anything that involves an upgrade of a system like this. I mean, if you were to say, when did we sign the signal contracts? 2018? I mean, to me, that feels like a million years ago. And the signal work is one of the most important things that has to happen here. But you can't do signal work when you're actually trying to run a system at the same time, except in very limited circumstances and opportunities. I think the big message I would say is that they have a rider's guidebook now that's available in 11 languages. I personally think it's a relatively easy document to understand. T is constantly updating its messaging on a number of its own sites through which it feeds information out to riders. In my view would be download or access the rider guidebook in whatever language is most comfortable for you, and then pay attention to a lot of the information that the team puts out on a pretty regular basis through its specialized Jennings website, and it's beautiful.
Thanks, everybody.
We just need do you mind just from your perspective how everything's looking, how are things going? We're a weekend. Are you 25% of the way there?
We're 37% of the way there, so we're happy. We're happy with the way it's going. I think we have a great deal of confidence that we can get this done in 30 days. This may not look like a ballet ensemble behind me, but the amount of choreography that has gone into managing and planning a number of projects with a limited number of access points has really been extraordinary. So we feel right now like we're very much on top of the schedule and on top of where we need to be.
Are you ahead of schedule?
I'd say we're on schedule. I don't want to count. count these chickens before they're hatched. We're on schedule. I think we're I think cautiously confident in our ability to do this.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
One other thing I would say in answer to your question, the commuter rail works for and the main reason I say that is it has capacity. They're running more trains than they were running previously, and the feedback we got from a lot of people who used the commuter rail last week was very positive.
Follow up to that, any plans, any conversation about changing the pricing on the commuter rail after this work is done to make it more accessible?
Let's get this done first, and then we can talk about that.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, Governor. Thank you, Steve.
You're welcome.
Thank you for saving it.